Okay,
There we
now they're gone. Sorry, Terry Lamar,
Here?
Bruce Smith,
Here.
Kenneth Bashirs.
Here.
Okay, petitions from the audience, I see none, but I do want to let it be known for the record that Dale from Infrastructure Solutions is here, present, as well as Buddy, the street superintendent. Discuss and possibly approve the minutes of the October 28, 2025 meeting. Have you all had a chance to review those minutes from that meeting? I know it's quite a while ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Entertain a motion to accept.
Motion. Second.
Ready? Okay, Lamar,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Bashirs.
Yes.
Okay, street superintendent report, Buddy Glenn. What's been going on for the past couple months?
Well, I can't remember back 2 months back through there, but I know about the last week and a half, we've been trying to get some things done for our part for the new street projects coming up. We've been working on base repair on Clayton Road. We've worked over on Southeast 14th Street there next to the, I think it's, I'll call it Wilkerson Apartments or whatever, but I talked to Tracy. We went through and cut out about I was a little over a foot wide of concrete. I talked with her. It was all broke up, and I was afraid that when we come in and do an overlay, mill and overlay on it, we run those rollers on top of it, that it was gonna break it up, and then we was gonna have to come back and fix it. So I talked to her, and she talked to her people, and they come back and said it was fine with them. So their drainage line is still in the same place it always was. It's just we just took the concrete, put gravel in it, so when they come back down, they'll mill it down the 2 inches or whatever, then come back and then overlay back to the edge of their concrete there. So that's kind of looking forward ahead, because I was just afraid it was broke up anyway, and I was just afraid it was going to break out, and then we'd have to be digging against new asphalt, and I didn't really want to do that. Went over and put a pipe in today over off of Jackson Street. Asphalted over top of that. We still got to come back and do the concrete on the sides of it, but we was trying to get that. Go ahead and put that in case, like I said, we get started, go out for bids and they're ready. On our part, I think we've pretty well managed. We've got everything done for us, our part that we need to get done before they start. So that's what we've been working on here lately. And we have run the sweeper. In some areas, we're still running into the problem of on-street parking. So some of the people, they don't see it when they're still in the house, and we'll go by and sweep, and they'll call us, well, seen the sweeper come by, and there was a couple of houses down from me, and they didn't go in front of my house. Well, there was vehicles there, and you can't sweep where there's vehicles. So we just go on. If there's cars there, we don't knock on the door and say, hey, you need to move this or that. And if it's there, we go around. If we have vehicles parked across from each other on the street and we can't get safely in between them, we just go to the next street.
So, I mean, if that sweeper were to catch a rock, and I mean, is there any concern about debris?
No, I don't think, because everything
Or?
that goes in between, it throws it back towards the vehicle.
Okay.
My thing is catching mirrors. I mean, because it's fairly wide. So,
Yeah.
so like I said, when you got a car parked here and a car parked on the other side, and you're trying to squeeze in between them, it's
Yeah, and you did tell me just earlier, though, that a lot of places that, well, we talked about one place in particular that I said I've been hearing from as far as rain and how it's staying in a lot of places. But if you're able to go through and sweep with that sweeper on those roads, that can help.
yes,
Just for the public to hear.
Yeah, that'll help. I mean, because like I said, if you've got a car parked there and you have debris built up where the tar sits, and then there's nothing else done with it. I mean, you get, either there hasn't been any, grass blowed out there now, but I mean, there's still leaves blowing around. And if you get debris built up, anything, if it runs down the street, it'll catch that tire and it'll sit there and hold it. Well, then if it doesn't get swept, then it's a blockage. I mean, yeah, if you get a 4-inch rain, yeah, it's probably going to go ahead and wash it on down. But if the vehicle's still sitting there, it's still going to catch debris. I mean, that's just.
I don't think you can do anything else. If we do what we should and start writing tickets and pounding cars, and we'll have them on us. And if you don't sweep in front of their house because the car's there, we'll have them on us.
Well, but if you hit their car, then.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, is as wide as that is, you're trying to watch in between not to catch anything. You don't want to tear somebody's mirror off accidentally, but yeah, I mean, it does help with the drainage. That's why like now when we go through in our street projects, anything that's been, if we have a curb and gutter, anything that's been overlaid, that we come back and mill that off, and then we do another mill in front of the gutter line to lay it back to the gutter line. We don't I don't want to have to go back and overlay back the gutter line again. I'd like to try to get back to the original flow line that where it needs to be originally, because that's where, how it was designed for the water to go down. So, but when you start adding to it, a lot of times asphalt, you can't get it perfectly down. When you roll it, I mean, you have imperfections, so,
But in the meantime, considering we have a ton of projects that we're about to talk about, if we could make it to where certain areas, if they knew to, I know it's hard, you might have a 2-car driveway, but you got 4 cars.
Yeah.
I know we're not gonna be able to work with everything, but
And that's
that can help with a lot of standing water from the rain that's.
yes, because there's a lot of streets that has plenty of fall on them, but again, when you have vehicles parked there, I mean, again, it catches leaves, grass, whatever, bags, whatever type of trash or debris, it catches it and it builds up by the tires. And then you do have some cars that's parked there that's broke down that, that you can't do anything with anyway, but, yeah. Well, we've been trying to run that sweeper. We've already wore out one gutter broom, one belly broom. We're fixing to change that, and we've been trying to get out and sweep all that we can, so.
We hired a new guy for you and didn't work out, so we've got another one new hired for you. Has he started yet?
Yes, he has started. We started him on that Wednesday. And he doesn't have much, knowledge of what we do, but he seems like he's eager to learn. So we've already got him driving one of our dump trucks. We took him out for a couple of days and let him get it out and learn to work the controls and stuff. And so he's already learned how to do that, how to dump it and clean it and, check the fluids on it and kicking the tires and everything. So he seems like he's wanting to work out pretty good, so.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, item number 5 is discussion regarding the South Elliott Street Drainage Project. And I guess, Dale, you're on about that to give us an update on what's going on with that.
Sure. We had a final inspection out there. I'm trying to think now, it's been about a week and a half or so. And we had some punch list items. I've let him know what those items are. He's been out there working. He's not done yet. I drove by there on my way up to this meeting. There's some things I got concerns with that he needs to address. But as soon as he gets all of those punch list items done, per the city's and mine approval, we'll have a final pay app and recommend giving him his final pay. But we won't recommend that until he gets completely done.
I think that went really good. It was quick. They was working on it. There were some problems, and there's always problems. But it looked to me like it went good. It looks good now, and it went quick. So
Yeah, I thought he did a real good job. There's some things, some cleanup work that I'm not satisfied with, but we'll get that taken care of.
I know that at one time there were some issues that were brought up specifically by some of the house and property owners right there that I'm sure that they've come out and addressed to you all. Are they kind of all happy about what's been done to rectify issues like Gus and them?
Yeah, some of them there on 14th, 15th, they were concerned about their curbs in front of their house that are actually our curbs. I checked out on them when we went back through. They've all been patched, cleaned. It looked pretty good, minus the things that were on the punch list that were there. So little things, like I think one tree stump had a little piece of PVC pipe in it, so we picked it up and put that in the back of Sam's car so he could take it with him. But for the most part, it looked really clean.
Yeah, and then there is one thing that we probably need to bring up. There was a car that ran off the road and went into some of that wet concrete on one of those streets. What street was that, 13th?
13th.
13th Street and
12th, it was 12th.
12th. But anyways, there was some marks in the concrete repair that he did there, and he's got that turned into the driver's insurance company. So now it's an insurance thing, going back and forth.
And that can drag on.
That can drag on, and we told him we'll allow it to drag on, but after 1 year, his warranty's up. If it's not fixed by then, he's gotta go fix it on his own. It's not that it's not drivable, it's just that there are some places where the car hit into the concrete itself.
Mayor, do you know if that person that did that was issued any kind of citation or anything for?
I think there was. And it's not incredibly, I'd say they're maybe, an inch deep, but they're
Yeah, I mean,
4 inches wide and about a foot long, and you can tell it's just where the chassis hit that and chipped it off, but everybody's aware, we marked it, we noted it in that final inspection, and we can't really do anything with it till the insurance is done with it, so,
but he knows he's responsible for it.
yes, he 100%
I
is
told
aware
him
of that.
there that he is still responsible for it, even if he can't work it out with the insurance company. There was citation.
Okay. Do you gentlemen have anything else to add about that? Okay.
Nope.
Thanks, Dale. Well, Dale, you're on again. Item number 6, discussion concerning the Glover and Associates project in reference to the old Highway 20 overlay. You know, as we all well know, we terminated or changed our contract with Glover on that to take them off the job. What's the latest with them on what we owe them, and we're recovering any kind of compensation for the
I
bond?
pretty much have been talking to your city attorney about every time I see him. He says he hadn't heard anything. I'm the same way. I haven't heard a word from those guys. So I don't know what their intentions are.
Do we, and I don't, maybe I don't understand the performance bond, does it not cover any of this thing we're talking about? We can't charge their insurance on it?
One thing about the legal system you learn when you're in this profession, you have to show damages, okay? And that's always hard. That's why it's very difficult to get liquidated damages, okay? We haven't paid him anything that we're trying to recoup because of his performance. His performance is he didn't do the job, therefore we never paid him for something he never did. Does that make sense? Now, if we would have paid him his entire contract,
Yeah.
and then we would have said, well, you ain't getting the job done, we want 3/4 of our money back because you still got that much work to do, that's different. We can show damages. It's hard for us to show, and I'm talking as an attorney right now, and I hate to do it, but those questions would be more for the city attorney versus me.
Is there anything we can do next time to cover that, or is there anything you can cover? It's just the way it's gonna be.
You know, we get bonding for it to protect the city. So if protect it, you know, if he goes out there and he lays a bunch of asphalt and we pay him for it and then it falls apart, you know, within that 1 year bond, then we can go back on him, okay?
I guess
But-
the word performance is what had me hung up on it.
Well, yeah.
And it's not really necessarily that, it's what you described. It's something that broke after you put it in there.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And we pay him for it. I mean, if we never pay him for it, but let's just say he put asphalt in, we paid him for it, and it broke, he never came back, and we would have to get somebody out there to mill it all off and relay it, that's what the performance bond and the maintenance bond is for.
It's an insurance policy, really, is what it is.
That's
Yeah.
pretty much it, yeah.
Did we pay them for anything that they did out there? I know there was some work and then some things had to be redone, then somebody threw gas in something, and was there anything that we ended up?
If I remember right, there was one pay app that we did pay. and
I
it
think
was-
we paid one pay app for a little bit of base repairs that he done out there. He turned in another pay app,
We did.
and I didn't recommend paying it because it was unacceptable work, okay?
Right, yeah.
And it was for materials that he said was on site. It wasn't on site, just on issues, and that's when we decided to terminate his
Do
contract.
we owe them anything right now?
I think technically we do.
Do they owe us anything?
liquidated damages, but that's gonna be hard to collect.
That's where you get tied up in court.
So-
with lawyers.
That's where you get
Yeah.
tied up in court.
Terry, if you don't mind real quick.
Sure.
I think this is one of those moments where our attorney would say, let's not tell them how to sue us, you know? But I think the idea would be, we still have that statute that'll protect us come September. And I think that's what, we talked about that today, Terry, that if we don't hear anything from them by that time, we're done. So, in the meantime, I don't want to say we want to just let it sit until they say something, but we'll pay them for what they did. For what they did, we will pay them. That's the right thing to do, and it's what we owe, but if they don't come collecting, then there's nothing we can do.
I think at that point is when you start bringing up liquidated damages. Okay. But I
Okay.
think that's the man.
Okay, thank you.
You welcome.
Okay, item number 7 is discuss and possibly recommend council action regarding the 2025-26 improvement projects. And in your packet, I know that you didn't get it until this evening, but we've kind of talked about this for a long time. And you have on the overview packet, Buddy and the mayor and Infrastructure Solutions went out here a few weeks ago and looked at the big projects to rack and stack what is a priority, either potential damage-wise to drainage projects or additions, and et cetera. And this is what they came up with. Now, some of these were also on the list that the council had came up with and gave you. It's not a comprehensive list of every single thing that we did. A lot of these are gonna be able to be done by Buddy's crew. These here are some of the big ones that we'll need to go out and get bids on to do. So, as you go down the packet here on the first page, and I like it that you have it color-coded over here and have the corresponding project name with that, because that was confusing to me on the alleys a couple years ago on trying to figure out all that. I think.
Want to
we're
make
doing-
sure everybody's on the same page.
And I think I'd mentioned to ask you to do that back then, and I'm glad you did. But the one project that you may not be very well aware of is the Cemetery Hill retaining wall. And if you're not familiar with that, on the north side of Cemetery Hill, that big rock wall has been unstable for a while, and rocks have been falling down. And that is to protect the cars and keep that road open, is what that one is. And you have a estimated cost on here of it. Now, keep in mind that on any of these bids, you don't know what's actually gonna cost until you get your bids back. But this is the engineer's estimate as of this week with the current information. Then item number 2 is Dog Pound Road, and we've talked about that many, many times, going from 3rd Street to 9th Street. That road's gonna need to be completely dug up and new base put down and completely redone there. I'm gonna skip I'm gonna skip down to Brookfield Terrace. That's the one we talked about probably 2 or 3 meetings ago, that goes down in behind Centennial Park and that way. And as you see, that's gonna be a big one of about $588,000 roughly. The next one is sidewalks along First Street. We put on the big map, we put a lot of sidewalks around town, but this one is a main one that is, got some real issues, that's going from about just east of Peach Drive-In to the east along the north side of First Street. There's trees that's coming up, and the sidewalk is actually at an angle and is very unsafe. That one is gonna need to take and is gonna be a big project to do. And he's got an estimate on here about $99,000 just for that one sidewalk.
That's correct, because the drainage is also there.
There's drainage ditches, there's big trees that's pushing all it up, and there's utilities in there too, so that's gonna be the factor on that.
Del, did we ever find out if those utility lines were live? Did we?
I talked to Jared today, and he said that big line that's in the ditch, he said it has been abandoned, but he said when we go to cut it out, he said there may have to be a cap put over it because just water, whatever, that's generated inside of it. He said, then if you get everything done, told today by his guy that that pipe was abandoned.
So we ought to be good with utilities there, but we're basically doing the same thing with the drainage ditch that we did at Elliott. We plan on putting a pipe in there and filling the top of it in and running the pipe all the way down.
And there is a graphic in here about that. It's the one that's called Northeast First Street Plan View. It's probably about the third one from the last page on that. And then, Park Street improvements on the north side. Now, I really don't know what that one's about. That's the first time I've seen that one.
Park Street improvements on the north side, that's pretty gummed up through there. The concrete's pretty broken.
Oh, you're talking about the concrete street. Okay, yes, that street is bad all through there. Okay, I got you on that. Now, when you say the north side, though, you're talking about just the north,
North
would be
lane.
the.
The westbound lane.
Westbound lanes. Okay.
Yeah, from about Lock Street to White Street. But,
Okay.
I mean, that's.
And then, Lock Street Alley. And I'm not familiar with that one.
So the Lock Street Alley is one that Councilman Trammell brought to our attention. It's really more or less a utility alley. But what's happened is the ground in behind those houses there, it's on Colonial and Lock. There's
That's
a,
the very last page on your graphic.
yeah,
here.
that ground back there is kind of sunk. And it's to the point where the transformers and the utility boxes and things are, I'd say probably sitting about a 50-degree angle. And then when you say that's about fair.
Yeah.
And across the street on Lock, there's a concrete drainage that we have already in place. This would just be going in there to bring in some backfill and route that water so it could drain through that cul-de-sac down around where you'll see on the graphic there. Not through the cul-de-sac, but through that property that we already have easements in. So,
That's a problem we had with the constant ponding right there, wasn't it?
yeah, so if you've been in City Hall and you see that big old case of mosquito dunks, we bought that for that project right there and threw about 30 of them out there because it just, no matter what they do. And then there's a house on the Lock side, the northernmost house on that graphic that you see. At some point, whether it's that homeowner or somebody previous, I don't know, it's irrelevant, has thrown their grass clippings and dirt and it's piled and accumulated for a decade. And it's just magnified that problem and made it worse. So we got to get in there, level it back up, and Dale, am I about right?
Yes.
Sorry,
You're absolutely right, yeah. You can kind of tell where the water goes. It almost goes to the back porch of that house. And there's a manhole right at the end of the block, and you can see that it's under water a lot because the grass that pushes up.
we went out there, Charles went out there with me, and it was probably, I don't know, been a big month or two since we had any rain. And there was about 4 inches of standing water that went all the way to the old lady. I don't know her name, I apologize if you're watching, but it went all the way to her back deck. She can't even mow her backyard at all. It's just, I mean, we're talking standing water. And I had about 15 mosquito bites in the 20 minutes we were back there, so I couldn't imagine living there. So we got to get that. That's a have to do. That's a,
Okay, and then moving on back up to the one I skipped, which is Project 26-03. That's the big comprehensive multiple streets project there. That's the one on 14th Street that Buddy had mentioned a while ago that they've already started doing some preliminary work on, just to the west of Elliott, along by down towards around Wilkerson Drive area. Jackson Street is the one-block street just to the north, going north from 9th Street to dead ends into 8th Street. That one's in pretty bad shape, and they're building some brand-new houses on there, and that's been on Buddy's list for as long as I can remember. Past few years, he's talked about that one. First and Kawaya, what's that one?
that is just south of the police station where it says dip.
Yes, that's that dip there that's been that way forever, ever since I was a little kid.
Me too.
Try to rectify that somehow or another.
It's
A lot of
been there
people
that long,
complain about
Bruce?
that. It's been there longer than Bruce.
Jeez.
I can tell you stories about that dip, and how fast if you hit it, you don't even notice it. But anyway, that's illegal.
So in other words, it's cobblestone under there. Probably, right?
Yeah.
And then, what do you got on here for Graham specifically?
On Southeast Graham Court, there's
Okay, it didn't specify Southeast Graham Court, so,
there's a drainage canal that goes through there.
okay, I know which one you're talking about.
And it's the same situation. Cars are frequently going faster than they need to, which is a different problem we're not addressing. But it's about a 1.5 foot drop from the road to the bridge and then back across. So it's got to be leveled out for safety's sake.
This is the one in your neighborhood? Okay.
What is happening, if you can go out there and look, the people are coming off of it, you see skid marks where they're hitting it. And what I'm afraid of, they keep doing it, is what's gonna happen, the concrete pipe there is gonna eventually start breaking. And then you're gonna have to tear it all out and redo it. So if we get it smoothed out where, again, there go another raceway, but I mean, but yeah, you can see where the vehicles have been scuffing as they go forward, so.
And then the one, there's an alley in there too, which is the one block alley that comes straight south of the police station off and dead end into First Street. Well, it doesn't dead end, into First Street there, just where the old Graham Auditorium set,
Yeah.
that back alley there. They're getting ready to do some school improvements in there and parking lot, and I think they're wanting that alley kind of repaired.
Yeah, it's
So
where
we
they
can-
get the lake park and stuff in there. It is an actual alley, and I mean, we try to keep it graded, but, some of the teachers hit me up on it, and I said, well, it's on the list to do. But we also have another alley over there back behind the old fire station.
Yes, I don't see it, it's not mentioned here in that, but it's the alley that goes,
It's in-
from the Graham Auditorium north to the jail. Correct?
Yeah, correct. It's on your maps. It's on there. So
It's this one here.
Okay, it's that little,
that one is rough.
This one right here?
Well, that one there,
Not the old one.
okay.
I forgot to put that one on.
Which one?
That one behind, from Graham over to the northeast First Street.
The last time we did the
Yeah,
alley.
last time we done alleys, that one there,
Yeah.
I just forgot about doing it. It needs something done, back behind there.
Okay, so based on Dale on page one there, where it just has the little parentheses of those streets, projects, some was left off there that I was confused about just now. So is there anything else that was on there that we left off talking about on the map here?
No, we had 14th Jackson, we had the two alleys,
Yeah,
we had the first.
dip,
Kulayah, Graham Court, and the animal shelter. We haven't talked about the animal shelter.
okay. The animal shelter is just the driveway going in there, right?
That's correct.
We're gonna pave it.
Yeah, there's a.
It's on there. There's a graphic on here.
There's actually a layout for it also.
Yeah, and we made sure to mention, we're not taking that pavement into what would be classified as Giles Park. So we're gonna stop
Okay.
right at the turn at the animal shelter, and the rest will remain gravel for the park. So,
Yeah, we have an ordinance that's in there that
Correct.
says basically all city property needs to be dust free. It's not a dust free road, so,
Okay. So it's basically just paving that road,
correct.
that driveway into there. Okay, and then one thing that is not on here that I know that we've talked about, Buddy and I have talked about it, you and I have talked about it, is South Van, where it dead ends into Third Street.
yeah, we've talked about there where it's all chopped up. I think you said you went down and patched some stuff.
Yeah, they filled in the chug holes on it the other day.
Yeah, was that one,
So is it gonna be on a contracted job, or is that one that you're gonna do?
well, I mean, if it, I'm trying to get it to my mind, and right now what I'm looking at, I can't place it.
It's right there behind
Oh, yeah.
Bank
no,
of Commerce.
Yeah, that the intersection, you kept calling it street, but it's actually that intersection. If we don't have the money for it, I mean, that's something that we can do ourselves. I mean, we're gonna pour concrete, I mean, that's not a problem. But I thought, like I said.
Of course, Van Street is bad, even a little bit to the north of it.
Well, see, Van Street's back, I don't know, several years ago, back when that one company come in, they put that half-inch lift on it of that, emulsifier or whatever, which it's actually held, the roads that we had that done to it, it actually held the streets that we've got to do over there, but again, you know, just because he, also, I put on, I talked to Dale, and he said he was going to look at it, but I was talking about redoing the parking areas, in front of the street department there on Taylor Street, and then I talked to Jared, and he said he would like to have his done. And I mean, it's just, the asphalt, I mean, it was 1981, I mean, it's falling apart, but I, also for is just cosmetics. I mean, yeah, we got holes there that we've gone out and dug and put asphalt stuff back in, but if we had the money, I would like to see those done. I talked to Jared today, and he said that he would like to see it done this year, if we could do it. He said something about he'd be willing to put a little extra into it if we needed to make sure that that was done this year. Just for improvements towards the look wise. We haven't really done a whole lot with the street department. We poured some concrete earlier here, fixing out some of the areas in front of our bay doors that's, had base failure underneath them, and just asphalt. We poured concrete back with them. I mean, yeah, the parking area is not something that I guess, it's gonna keep anybody from coming to work, but it's just the idea of, I mean, you know, let it run down where it looks bad. So, I mean, this more or less, I mean, it'll have to be a mill and overlay on it.
Right, but we also have public streets that are in bad shape that people have to drive over every day that's probably in worse shape.
Well, raise taxes, gives more money.
Well, let's talk
I mean,
about, let's
you
talk,
don't have to sit up there and tell me that we got bad streets that people have to drive on every day. I've been here for 30 years, I realize that, so you don't have to tell me that.
Buddy, I'm just saying that your cosmetic parking lot, the taxpayers would rather have the streets fixed than that
Okay,
if
well,
it
then
came down
that's
to
what
it.
you should've said. Don't tell me that people are driving on all these streets that needs to be done besides that. I said, if we had the money, I would like to see that done.
Right, right.
So, I've been in here for almost 30 years, so don't tell me about the streets, it's bad. I understand. I can only do with what money we got.
That's true,
That's right.
very true.
well, I'm gonna bring up something, hope I don't get thrashed.
Well, now, hold on a minute. We're still just trying to talk about Van Street at Third Street. That's where we got off at on this app. Do we need to put that on a list to get it contracted and get it fixed and done?
Is that one you think you can do? I'm looking at what we've got on the budget right now, and when we break that down, we've got a little bit more. That wouldn't be, but
Well, even with Park Street, that's not a necessity. I mean, we can go through there. We've been replacing some as we go through. I thought if we had the money, we could do it, because I mean, that's the worst area pulling into the park with the curb and everything, that drivable curb. But it's not a have-to deal.
I think let's look at it and see, and, I mean, nothing says that if we don't put it on this list tonight, that it can't still be done. So let's look at it, see what you think, and we can bring it back, and if
Well,
that's one we need to add to PRY 2608, then we can do it.
We've still got a lingering problem we haven't addressed yet,
What's that?
the Taylor drainage. It just keeps going away. We've been talking about it for 2 years.
Well, we've been talking about that. Are we,
I mean, that's something Buddy could probably do. I don't know. You wouldn't have to contract it out or nothing, but you know more about it than I do. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it would have to, that dam and stuff on the south end would definitely have to be dug out where it could drain. Our
Yeah.
problem is, the only type of equipment that we could really have to clean that area would be the skid steers. I mean, you try to get a wheeled vehicle there like a backhoe or something, unless it's really dry, those backhoes probably wind up, you get stuck.
Oh, it would, yeah.
But I mean, like I said, again, it would have to be totally dry, where we could get in there and move that debris and stuff. I mean, even if you wasn't able to clean the whole creek out, but if you was able to get where our drainage behind the buildings, those houses there off Oklahoma, lined up straight, where that fence and everything goes through there, if you was able to get in through there and take all that out, just wide enough for that water to drain, yeah, that's something, I mean, we could probably wind up doing ourselves.
But, that's probably not as a major problem. Of course, it's a flood problem. But the problem is, we never did get, I don't guess the attorney ever got a hold of them to get.
we have an all directions struggled to get a hold of the McCauley's.
Oh, Well, I'll give you a phone number.
No, we've got it, and I've given it, Chase has all that, and
Oh,
he's
okay.
tried, it's just, it's something in, it's not, the return calls aren't happening. Now, Buddy and I, will say, if you're okay with me saying, we did talk about coming in off of 510 road. Problem is there, that's out of our city limits, so we'd be coming in from out of the city limits, but, also, when we break that water free, you've got houses directly across the street from that that'll probably gonna get some water damage.
Well, it's
Because that's
not,
on the south side of that pond there.
if,
Is that right?
what Buddy and I have talked about, and I'm way far, not an engineer, we've got one standing here. Talked about digging that out and digging that pond out where it'd be a kind of a holding place and then cutting a drainage in the dams. When you get to this point, it would drain.
Yeah.
Which is gonna flood anyway if you don't, and it might help us upstream and not flood them out downstream.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna need something that'll hold some more water, but the beaver dam's in there. Somebody didn't do
I
a
got
job on
shells
it.
left.
So. And Terry, did you wanna go on to Bailey,
Well,
or is that another item?
it's another item. We'll skip down to that one. Okay, so Dale, do you have anything else to add on that, or did I kind of give a good summary of it?
That's pretty much an overview.
Do y'all have any questions?
So is there any,
Should be a drawing for every one of those projects.
I think there is.
An exhibit. So,
so the item says discuss possibly recommend council action. Is there any particular action that we're looking for?
Yes, the action would be that we recommend to push this to the council meeting this coming Tuesday so we can get the ball rolling, to go out for bids on getting this stuff done, because you've done all the engineering, right?
no, I have not done any.
Oh, okay, but have we done anything enough to press on to go out for bids soon?
Soon, yes.
When do you think that
We
would
still
be?
have to put the plans together. Okay, I mean,
Okay. I guess we need
all
to
I've got
act-
enough done is just to get you in the estimate, to get you in the ballpark of what it's gonna cost to get this work done.
So the action would be to get this to the council and let them know that these are the main projects, and give him the go-ahead to go ahead and,
So I think
Press on.
you might have two items. First item for the council agenda, and we can do this on your recommendation for here. One, forward this to council for the approval to begin these projects. Second would be give Dale permission to start the bidding process once that's ready.
Sounds good to me.
That'll expedite it a little bit more.
Okay, but this has nothing to do with I guess the council will figure out what's gonna take priority, but this is just a.
No, that's.
no,
what-
this is
that's what
pushing the
you gotta
council
do.
that this is the priority.
Now, have you run this by Nina? I'm just checking, see.
Well, what I meant by that was, which one of these are we gonna start first?
Do them all at the same
All of them
time,
at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
right, buddy?
Yeah, because these are the ones that will have to have, contractor that has milling machines, other equipment, Clayton Road, there'll be no milling or nothing on that, it's just an overlay.
It's not on here, though. Is it?
No, because they have nothing, no engineering.
It's just gonna be a simple overlay.
Yeah, it's like, it's just, they'll come in and.
We'll get another,
And it will start, basically, if you start from the south end of it, it would be at where the lip, or the apron is at Chris Kernut's, where it meets the concrete and the asphalt, and then go east.
Yeah, because I mean, if it's, I've looked at it, I want to go over and probably try to dig that out and redo that with concrete, then all they got to do is come back in and just overlay it for just a little ways over that, so it's just a smooth transition, that goes into there. But then again, they might be able to do that without having to dig that out, I don't know.
And how far east?
Well, we're gonna.
That 1 mile section?
Gaither Road.
all the
Gaither.
Gaither.
Okay, Gaither, okay.
Yeah, Gaither, well, yeah, it's Gaither, but I mean, it's right there at that corner of county.
Yeah, that takes us to the city limits,
Correct.
so.
And I assume y'all have already done it, but the accounts are gonna be able to bear the amount that.
Oh, yeah.
Just for the public record, that,
For public record, we're very, very, very.
Okay.
We're good. And in that email I sent you guys today, you'll see the breakdown on how I think those should be done, which ones should be drainage, which ones should be sidewalks, and which ones should be streets. And you'll see that brings that $1.9 million number down to like $1.2 million for the street. The 600 and, it was like 600,000 for the one, and then, for drainage, and then the other would be the sidewalk.
Yeah, the sidewalk, we have money put back for that should cover that sidewalk. So it's not coming all out of one.
And then the mayor and I just talked about this today, and I think I kind of have his blessing on that.
Yeah, you did.
That since we're gonna be doing 2 downtown alleys, basically in the downtown area, and we're having a contractor to do that, there's a little bit of stretch of the alley behind Arvest Bank that didn't get done when we did that last year, and it would continue to the north where it intersects with First Street, basically right there next to the bank. You can see where the asphalt overlay ended, but it never was continued on for whatever reason, and it's getting in bad shape.
Okay.
That small stretch to be added to,
It's like less than
To
20
this
feet.
also.
It's not
And
bad.
then I'm trying to pick, Arvis one's on 69 highway, correct?
yes,
69 and First Street?
behind Okey Dokey going
Okay,
north.
Okay.
You know, that little bit of,
Yeah, I think, because we wasn't sure, I know they went through and they had a bunch of ruts because there was a dumpster that was there at that one time, and then they come in and just fixed where that was, and I don't think we made it clear that we wanted them to complete the alley, I think they just fixed where that dumpster was.
yes, because I remember mentioning, what's the deal? How come it didn't get done that way? But there's a real bad soft spot in there too, I think, where that's at. You can't,
Base repair.
on that base repair.
I'll go by and take a look at it, and we'll add it in here. One other thing, I just want to make sure everybody understands, Dog Pound Road is just base repairs, no asphalt. This estimate.
Oh,
What will it be covered, just gravel?
Gravel, yes.
Till we get agreement with the county to come out, and we'll have to eventually overlay.
right.
But this gets us to that point.
Well, gravel will be better than what's there right now.
Well, I really think.
It's hard for
It was
Dodge to get
gravel
out that
forever.
I think until we're completely done with that range, I don't think that's when we start. I don't want to get in there with heavy equipment on something that's gonna just tear up something fancy, so.
When you, on the other option, you come in and do a level base of asphalt, and then come back and do the overlay. But again, you're still, I mean, that's just filling the holes and
Yeah.
and everything in there, but I mean, that's the other option. But like I said, that road's just, it's been nothing but old chip, and I think we've had maybe 2 or 3 layers of, the county's come in and old chipped it over the last 20-some years, so I mean, there's just nothing there.
Well, I think as many times as that's been submerged through various
Oh, yeah.
floods,
Every
it
time-
probably would be best to get down to the base. When you think, Dale?
Yeah, you gotta start, I drove down the road, it's pretty bad, so,
Pretty rough drive, it,
pretty rough drive, yeah.
yeah,
Well, your truck can handle it, right?
that
A
jump.
lot of speed bumps through there.
They put it 4-wheel drive.
Nobody speeds on it.
That's true. Or if they are, they're gonna,
But the
Fair
thing
to
is
do.
also, I mean, it's important on that one is because a lot of times when the railroad crossings, for whatever reason, 9th Street is usually always open. So we have to send people, if it's blocked off there on 69 and 20, and then they're on First Street and 3rd Street, that's the only other area that we can send them down to. And for whatever reason, I don't know, that one's usually always open. So all that traffic all goes down and, down to there to get out, so it's,
All right, so I'll make the motion that we send the proposed 2025-26 improvement projects to the city council, and that Dale's able to go out for bids
Okay.
on said projects.
so we have a motion second, and that includes the little addition that we just made for that little 200 feet stretch of alley in there too. That added-
Yes.
Finished that.
Yes.
Okay. So, call for the vote?
Smith,
Yes,
Rushiers,
Yes.
Lamar.
Yes. Thank you, Dale. Okay, and then the last thing, and this is discussion and possible action regarding the South Bailey Street Drainage Project. If you remember, a couple of years ago, it's on the master plan that we had a major drainage project planned for Bailey Street. And Steve Powell had drawn up a plan for that a few years ago, and I don't know if you remember where that street's at.
Oh, yeah.
But it's between New Highway 20 and Old Highway 20 on the east side of town by the Shipman's Funeral Home. So a little one-block stretch, not very long. And we were gonna have to go in and buy a couple of properties up for a retention pond there. There's a creek that runs from the east going across
I know what
there
you're talking about.
and back in some behind houses and then ties in with the new Highway 20 drainage. Well, there was a plan for that. It was gonna be a big retention pond. But the mayor and I went out there and looked at that today. And a lot of the little stream, creek drainage through there is covered in brush and, trees that have fallen down, which would possibly impede the flow of that water going through there. And we had gone out and looked at that and talked about it today about, having you look at it and maybe moving a berm that was put in there. And then also contracting it out to have a tree removal company and a contractor come in to clean all that brush out based on what we observed today on that.
So when we originally bought, I think it was 17, the first house we bought there directly across from Shipman's, that was before Shipman redid his parking lot. And I give all credit to him. He over-engineered his parking lot and it drains perfectly, almost too perfectly for that street. But what it did was it pushed all that water across, so we abated the property there. And when we did that, for whatever reason, this was after I had left the council, we put a berm. It's a little, you've seen it, it's a little 2-foot berm that on the south end of that property line. But then we went back later and we abated the 2 lots to the south of that. Well, the water goes through, hits that berm, and then it disperses it really bad. And I think what we could do there is remove that berm and make that whole area a little bit more of a detention area. And then if we cleaned up some of those trees and had them, there's some that are leaning pretty bad. We want to leave the bases because the roots will help hold that edge on the drainage. But if we get some of that cleaned up, that might clear that up. But we also talked about if we're going to hire somebody to come in and clean up those trees, we might as well add to that project, go around the corner to your sidewalk, right there on First, and pull that tree out there
That tree out too.
and just do that all in, I mean,
It's not in this cost estimate.
correct, and it's all right there together, but that would allow one and done.
That's all done.
I also would like to talk to Mub because there are some of those trees that their power lines are tied up in. And so we may see if they'll come in and lob those out and get that cleared, and then we bring a contractor. If we don't, the fear is some of those trees that are leaning pretty bad from that washout are big enough and tall enough they'll fall in a house, and they're already headed that way. So liability's sake, I think it's best we hire somebody to do it, let the professionals get in there and clean it, and we do that, so.
There's at least one house there that has a chain link fence at these trees. Some of these trees has already fallen down on that fence. But if you walk the creek back there and look at it, some of those trees are coming up out of the ground at an angle, but going over to the west, over those people's fences and houses.
Okay.
Well, the problem is, that area, when the state highway come back to rezone, their section, when they raised it up, I think they only put like a 24-inch pipe underneath that highway. That does not handle all the water that comes off the highway and all through there. So all that water behind that house, those houses, that creek comes through, it comes back behind this other house, comes through, and it turns, goes back in a pipe, and it goes down into the highway. Well, that water there does not drain because they don't have as much force as what's coming down. Because some of the manholes, sometimes we get the heavy rain, water is popping up through them. So that's why that water, some of those yards back there gets flooded because there's no place for that water to go. I mean, you could even put what do we just call it?
Detention.
Yeah, retention pond back here, but I mean, but then again, it would help. I think that's actually gonna solve the problem. There may be, but there ain't no places that you can reroute it to.
Right.
That work.
I think
If I remember right, didn't Bill Smith look at that and recommend putting a couple of detention ponds in there?
I think so. Wouldn't have been in my time, but
It was before, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago. So what we're talking about, just try to rechannelize the thing, clean out the trees and the brush.
Yes.
the
to
big,
Try to get the water to flow through the forest.
the big concern, Dale, is that the properties on what is that, Aura is the next one over? And I apologize, those streets all kind of blend together for me. From Bailey to Aura, because of the way that channel is with that berm, it's actually shooting heavy water to the houses on the east side of Aura. Buddy, that's the one you sent me the picture of, right?
Yeah.
And it's flooding their whole yard. So I guess what I'm gonna say, Dale, is looking at that, the original idea, back when I suggested we abate and take, was we now have three, I think there's actually 4 lots there that we own. Turn that into just a place where it'll slow that water down enough so that it doesn't flood out and over, and it'll do a slow drain. But that berm is gonna cause some problems.
Buddy, I think that picture you may be looking for is back around October timeframe, because we talked about this very subject at our last meeting, which was in October. So it would have been back that far, probably.
It would help if I brought my glasses. Because they're all kind of look the same. But I mean, we got pictures of it that the gentleman sent me back here. It is.
Yeah.
And he's redoing that house, and the problem is it comes right in between 2 houses. And
Yeah.
there's no other, when that water runs over, I mean, that pipe, because then it's gotta come up to Baylor,
Or,
and then turn it into another pipe. So, I mean, it just spreads out. I mean, the
But-
picture we've seen, I mean, I think the mayor got one, I think Terry's got one, you can look, I mean, it shows his backyard, it's just, that from there all the way to Bailey Street, just nothing but water. I mean, it's.
well, and rightfully so, when it rounds, excuse me, when it rounds the corner to that house on Aura, the ditch almost completely disappears into their front yard, so it's almost completely level. So it just needs to be cleaned up, but I think if we add to that some tree removal, and then throw the one over there that you've got on First Street by the sidewalk, because it's literally right around the corner, I mean, they're right there. Pull those trees out.
And if Brookfield gets approved by the council, there's gonna be some trees there that's gonna have to.
Now, I would suggest, and I'm not the engineer, but what I've learned at Giles Park with the riparian and stuff like that, some of those trees that are on the bank of that little ditch, the roots are holding all that together. So I told Terry, I said, maybe we come in and have them lobbed off at 12 feet, which puts them below the power lines, but it leaves the weight and the roots there to help hold that erosion.
But there's a couple of huge trees that are leaning way over to the west that's gonna, erosion or wind's gonna eventually get to those, into those houses or the fences of those houses on Aura.
He wanted to climb on them. I told him it wasn't a good idea, but he was, I don't know, wanted to build a tree house or something.
I'll take a look at it, make recommendation.
Okay, so what I would like is from the committee here, is to make a recommendation to the council, right? To give Dale the authority to go ahead and proceed with whatever he needs to do to rectify that area in there and/or go out for bids on the project for the.
That'll just speed it up, and it doesn't have to keep coming back here. We can just,
And we talked about it last October, and now we're bringing it up again and talking, and we can start the ball rolling on it.
Yeah, I don't wanna wait till we're a week away from our new year, still working on these projects.
Right.
and just for reference, I know you guys can figure it out, but I think between the 3 accounts that we would use, the drainage, the sidewalks, and the street repair, we've got a little over 2 million in there, so wasn't it like 2.5 or something altogether?
Yeah, it was like 1.2 in our
Street repair,
street repair, we had a little over $1 million in
drainage,
drainage, and we had 100,000 in sidewalks.
so.
I know the question I had. Will the perpetual care fund, can it be used to fix that?
I'll have to, I thought about that, some of that, maybe share the cost on that.
Yeah.
but, That's a Jeff, I'll ask Jeff on that one. Jeff and,
If nothing else, maybe the, interest off of it might be able to use the money itself, though. Okay.
Okay, well, we're jumping back onto something we've already gave it approval for. My motion and second is for to proceed with this Bailey Street project. Do I have a motion and a second?
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
I don't know, he made me mad. Yeah, I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. To
Rushiers?
recommend, to recommend to the council to give Dale the authority to start, what's the language you want to,
Start the design and bid.
start the design and bid process?
Yep. For the South Bailey Street drainage.
Yes.
project.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Rushiers?
Yes.
Lamar?
Yes,
Smith?
Yes.
okay. Dale, thank you very much for coming up here.
You're
Do we have any unforeseeable business? Mayor?
I just want to add, and Dale, you may know, I don't know if you'd had anything to do with that, with MUB and the project on 17th. Did you have anything on that?
I did.
Do you mind giving a quick, I went down there today and 17th is closed off. You aren't getting through there, so if you could just a quick little synopsis on why that is.
I haven't talked to the contractor lately, but the project was, there's a sewer line there that's, I don't know if I remember right, about 18, 19 feet deep.
Yep.
So the best way to take care of a line that deep is do what we call pipe bursting. You dig up one side, you dig up the other side, and you pull the pipe through. If I remember right, they're having issues with the ground of setting the manhole on one side of it, and that's, and he's working at getting, no, I take that back.
The machine broke.
The machine could not pull the pipe. It
Yeah,
was big enough.
the return pressure snapped
Yes,
and the machine got stuck.
yes. And they got a bigger machine coming to pull the pipe through, and he's waiting on the machine to get here. Now, I don't have an exact date of when that is, but that was the issue.
So, but also we had a couple complaints for things that will be potential torts for MUB. I directed them to MUB for that project, so.
Yeah, we got one several times on that.
Yeah,
You may be guilty of some stuff, but not that one, right?
Not that one there, I mean, it's,
Buddy, do you have anything else unforeseeable business?
no, I mean, I don't have anything right off. Get-go, I mean, just saying that, whatever we can't get this year, we can always put on, but we still haven't figured it.
I do have one thing,
What's that?
and it probably could have been an item if I'd have remembered. The Highway 69 and 49th Street, there is a maintenance agreement, it's Walmart, for rumble strips. So anytime ODOT makes an improvement in that corridor that's ours, we have to sign a maintenance agreement. Christine Reed sent that through last week. When we all discussed and agreed on how that was gonna be, we replaced the signs that flash and say stoplight ahead. In that agreement, ODOT said that those signs were at 660 feet or something like that. There is no possible way they're at 600 feet. They're like 300 feet. So I challenged them. I said, I really think you need to go back and double check your numbers because there's no way. And we put the signs exactly where the old posts were at. In fact, you left them there, so they're there. But what I then suggested in that request was rumble strips that traverse the entire width of each lane, not just in the drive path. We don't want somebody to kind of doze off and veer and miss them, or we don't want people to get in the habit. So when they sent the maintenance agreement, it only had the wheel paths. And I said, I won't sign this agreement for that until you do what we've asked and we agreed on. So they came back and said that there may be additional costs for materials. We might have to pay for the additional material. And I said, I really could care less. It's not going to be at the most a couple grand. They're adhesed down. They're not grinding them. It's the adhesive ones that stick up farther. I said, or you buy the material and we'll adhese them, whatever works, but we'll do that. Once we have it in paper that that's the agreement, then we'll put them there. So we said we want them at 500 and 1,000 feet. And she came back and said, well, we needed them to be closer to the sign, so we're going to move them to 470 feet. And I said, that's when I said, well, you might want to check the distance of your sign. That's too close. At that distance where those signs are, you've already exceeded. And then unofficially, we won't really make a big deal about it, but the duration of the yellow light has been changed as well. That's already been done. And so, I don't want anybody trying to count it or anything, but that seems to be an improvement in itself, giving more time for the yield. So, next is, as soon as Chase and Buddy agree that maintenance agreement says exactly what we want it to say. If it's gonna be our corridor, it's gonna be the way we want it. And then once that's done, I'll sign it and kick it back to them. I'm not gonna bring it to anybody for council. It's standard agreement with ODOT.
Is the traffic light at 69 and 69A hours, is that city limits or is
That's
it just before the city?
Big
after the city?
debate, isn't it?
Yeah, we went in, the city went in with the state to put that in because of back then when Gatorade was coming in,
Uh-huh.
that they wanted the turn lights and all that put in there, and that we did go in with them to purchase those lights and put them up, but I don't know,
When there's a problem with the lights, I report it to MUB, because their guys are, as Buddy will say, their
Right.
guys are better than ours. They, that's just what they do. And if there's a repair, we split it 50/50 with MUB. So,
So if we're paying for the repairs, then it is ours.
we pay
Okay.
for, yeah, I mean, we've just done it because nobody else has stepped up, and my opinion is safety is way further on the importance than arguing about who has.
So okay, so if there's a crash at that intersection, is that the city or or OHP? Where's the city
Honest to-
limits?
Honest to goodness, it depends on which direction it is and which side of that intersection it's on.
Okay,
Yeah, it's about half, right in the center of
It
it.
is dead center, and that's the
Yeah.
same thing with Carbide Road.
Okay.
Um,
yeah,
And ODOT, Highway Patrol has been very cooperative in this whole process. They've been in every meeting, on every call, but respectfully, they'll argue to the death on what's theirs and what's ours.
okay,
So,
fair enough.
it's actually city limits runs to the north side of 530 Road.
Yeah.
All the way goes down to Oakwood or whatever, then it skips.
and goes back north.
Yeah, then it goes on back east, then we got that 200-foot frontage, and then
Yeah.
I guess eventually that'll all be within the city. Unless it's already been taken in, I don't know nothing about it.
Okay, all right. Anything else, gentlemen? All right, adjourned.
We'll do a motion for that.
We're adjourned.